Wasting time.
Geographically Challenged, episode number 23. It's the final episode of the year, and I am so excited. I feel like I've been doing that all year, for shows that I'm not excited about. But I am actually excited about this one because we've got the merry band of shitcasters back together. All the guys from ANZ. It's actually the only episode we've done where we have all of us on the one show. It's actually Kev's first episode as well. So welcome to Geographically Challenged, Kevin. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, I know.
The premise of this, by the way, is that we've basically just gone and stolen by the numbers Christmas special format, which is, it's a winning formula, so you kind of just have to do it. It is the last episode, so it's going to be a bit of a recap of the year. We're going to go through whatever bunch of shitty awards we want to give away and that kind of thing. Obviously, we got Pilsky back. We got Mac here as well. He's excited. And we're all maybe going to get drunk, except for Mac. Mac's not going to because he has to drive later on. Responsible drinking, everybody. But yep. Pili's drinking cider. Kev's drinking soju. I'm drinking whiskey. So we'll see how this one goes. Anyone want to say anything? Like any disclaimers before we start? Because there are a few toxic awards in here. Does anyone want to just, say sorry in advance to anyone?
Yeah, look, you're just going to have to fucking cop it on the chin. So deal with it, preemptive.
All right, there we go. That's good. And hopefully Mac's going to do that too when we all vote for our worst co-caster of the year. Anyways, we'll get to that one in just a little bit. We want to start off. The first category, guys, is the MVP Player of the Year. So I know last week we did the top 20 countdown where we had our opinions on who the best player was. In my mind, actually, MVP of the year is different to best player. Does that make sense? Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So who wants to start?
I think for me, it was a no-brainer, actually. This is one of the more kind of serious things. Yeah, it's gonna have to go to Dexter. I'll be real. It has to be Dexter. Time in and time again for 2020.
Are we separating Earth and Asia?
Well, we can if you want. Look, Mac, I didn't really put that much effort into this apart from making the category.
Yeah,
so
well,
let's just go with whatever you want. What do you want to do?
Your personal opinion. It's your time to shine, Mac.
No, well, if it's two, then I need to pick one for Asia, which I'll need another couple of seconds to think about.
So wait, we all agree it's Dexter for ANZ?
I think so.
Billy,
that's what I was going to go with.
For ANZ, yeah, I would go with Dexter as MVP.
Okay. What about for Asia? Because that one is a bit more interesting, actually, than MVP from Australia. Because I think, everyone's just going to say, oh, Dexter, easily. But for Asia, it's actually a bit more interesting.
Yeah, for me, actually, it'd be Dan King. Far in and far out, I think he'd be the most valuable player of the year. I've got a feeling that if Tyler didn't have Dan King, they would not be. I mean, it's the games they're losing. It's not because of Dan King. It's because of the rest of the others, right? It's not Dan King. It's not somebody that are losing. To me, it has to go to Dan King for the sheer amount of consistency throughout the year.
What about Advent? Is Advent the MVP of Asia?
No.
Why not? Because he had a shit 6 months in the middle of the year?
I give him the Steve and Sam's award for unsung hero inside the Asian Counter-Strike scene as an IGL. A bit of a long one and an award no one's ever made up, but that's the truth. It's you can't really call him an MVP, but he's definitely done enough work for me to kind of go you know what, you get a special Steve and Sam's award.
Okay.
I'll probably say Kaze because he's been in the top, whether Vici's done well at the tournament or whether they've come second or top four, or even if they've come just below the top four. You'll always find Kaze in the top players in the tournament in terms of rating. He's always up there at a 1.2 or something like that. He's incredibly consistent in one of the more important roles. So I'd probably say Kaze.
I'm thinking probably Summer. I feel just because he at least does he even call? No, I don't know. Maybe I retract that. Does he call or does Tyler just do things? That's the question I'm going to ask. But if he does make calls, if he does do a lot of the calling, then Summer as well. I feel like he brings a lot to the table, including some fragging power, which a lot of IGLs usually don't. So that's something to really put out there.
Cool. All right, that's the boring award out of the way. Well, there are a couple more boring awards, I think, before we get into the super interesting ones. We've gone Dexter, we've gone someone from Asia. It really depends on who they chose. But Dexter seems to be the overall consensus. So congratulations, Dexter. You win MVP Player of the Year. Team of the Year, guys. This is, I think, another pretty easy one. Renegades.
Oh, actually.
Congrats, Renegades.
No. For me, I've selected someone different.
You're just going to say something stupid.
I didn't say something stupid. I've actually given it a Vici. Because I think it's Okay, Renegades is big. Like everyone's gonna go, oh, Renegades are the best team. Like they're undefeated. Yeah, but it's like they were barely tested, right? Whereas for Vici, I felt like they were severely tested. They were like found wanting. Like out of how many times it's you just get defeated by Tyloo every single time. You keep losing to the same person 5, 6, 7. It doesn't like how many series was it? And then you still persevere. You're still trying to break through. And by the time they broke through, they showed some of the best Counter Strike. Like how many teams actually show that tenure to kind of break through like a ceiling after 6 months, right? It was like we were all looking at it going like they're not going to do it. It's like I had a bit of faith, but I was like, this is starting to like look a bit painful now. So to me, that's the reason why I would give them the award because it's in a year that's characterized by like hardship and everything. I don't feel like Renegades really characterize, hardship. They just kind of just steamrolled all the competition. No one really tested them. Vici had to defeat their own demons in their head. That's why I give Vici the award. It's that's not like a troll kind of thing for me.
No, well, it's not really a troll like award in general. I actually kind of like that, because I was just thinking Renegades, Tyloo, they've had the best years, but you can quantify the award with whichever way you want it or contextualize it. So I like that. I'm agreeing. I've kind of been won over by that. I think I'm going to vote Vici as well.
Yeah, I'll agree just to make it, three votes at least for that.
Don't
Only
agree.
because like with Renegades, right? Like from the start of the year to the end of the year, yes, it was a great run. Yes, it was, literally historic for how many tournaments they won. But you have to say their skill ceiling, like not the skill ceiling, but their skill at the start of the year when they were able to go play internationally was probably higher than towards the end of the year when they had been, Elo hell locked, whatever you want to say, and were just playing the same competition all year. So there was room for improvement, I guess, especially towards the end of the year when they did, screw up a couple of times after losing Mytha, everything seemed to fall apart to throw them to fall apart, going to a lower bracket, not necessarily the worst thing in the world, and then still coming back and blitzing the competition anyway. I think it is certainly an honorable mention, but I like the just the whole story of Vici. It seems to be a longer, more interesting one.
I agree. I think actually Vici's storyline was the most interesting this year. So I suppose that goes hand in hand with that as well. Do you have anything else to say, Pilsky? Or are you pretty much
I just disagree with you guys. I think Vici barely won anything this year, so they only won a handful of tournaments, and Renegades was undefeated in every tournament, so not really comparable in my eyes.
I guess that depends on what your definition of team of the year is. I suppose if we're asking
success, maybe.
Well, it doesn't say most successful team of the year.
Oh, if it's that, then
says
I'm taking
team
my
of
vote back
the
to
year.
Renegades.
I mean, that's I don't know. If you want to go team of the year, I could say I don't know my team that I got from in my Valorant matchmaking that lost 13-1.
Well,
just because that's my favorite.
As long as you can make a justifiable argument, which obviously you haven't. Anyways, so we got those ones out of the way as well. So congratulations, Renegades and Vici and Pilsky's Valorant team. This is where things start to get a bit more interesting, I think. So. Best newcomer talent. Now, this is for casters and stuff within the AU and Asia scene. Now, to be honest, you have to scratch your head a little bit and go, was there even any new casters or any new talents?
That was my whole thing. I'm looking back and just going, no offense to all the guys that are grinding out, but I legitimately cannot pick like a new talent out of my head. Like, I feel like all of them have been around since 2019 for a lot of them.
What about Apoc Dud?
Yeah, I was going to say Apoc Dud. Let's just get Apoc Dud in there.
He was on the ANZ Champs broadcast. He was talent.
That's I don't know.
That's a stretch, according to Kev. I think that's legit.
What's the award again? Sorry, I'm just noticing my video quality is like ass today, so I was trying to fix it.
Best newcomer talent.
Best newcomer talent.
Newcomer Vexite. There you go.
No, talent as in commentator. Oh my
god. Well, he's pretty talented. Look, he probably has worked a microphone before. No, new.
Quick Draw's in the chat. He says surely. Did Quick Draw start this year?
No, they all started 2019. I'm fairly certain, didn't they?
That's the thing. Is like I don't know that anyone necessarily really started this year.
Or is it like 2020 has been? Like, has 2020 just been that cooked in terms of everything that I don't even remember, like, who even started? Like, did they actually all start in 2020? Like, when was that shoutcasting competition?
Which shoutcasting competition?
For ESL.
Oh,
That was this year. That was this year.
Voltinator.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Voltinator.
Horse racer
Headshot,
guy.
boom!
Oh, I love that guy.
He was
No.
like, he's
that
kinda
was the
like,
most fun I had watching a cast in a long time, and I was watching all the top tournaments this year.
He's like Babam, but the Australian version. You guys
Yeah.
remember Babam? He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Quality
yeah.
dude.
It was
I
fun.
do.
Let's say Voltinator. I'm gonna vote Voltinator, even though he doesn't actually fucking cast.
He's like the only one that I'm aware of that started this year, or at least that.
But when you say started, he entered the
heard of.
competition, but does he actually cast anything?
Oh, fucked if I know. Let's have a look.
At least Apoc Dud actually did a broadcast.
Yeah, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's a bit of a cop out in terms of everything. Like, I was like trying to think like, okay, like this is the pick. I have to give one instead of me like dilly dallying around. I know he's been around for a while, but I feel like the best, like, you know what? Let's make it. I'm just gonna consider it as like someone who hasn't really done tier 1 commentating before and has done a lot more this year.
Sure, that's
And
fair.
I would give it a Komodo. That would be like kind of like my like pick in terms of everything. Yeah, it is really hard to quantify new talent because I feel like it's harder for them to break out at the moment. But yeah, like
Alright, what if we
that would
do-
be my, like,
What if
slightly-
we do caster of
Okay.
the year? That's not out of the four of us, not including us. Caster of the year for CS, for Asia and ANZ,
Not including us.
not including the four of us. Because like obviously it's one of us.
Who the fuck else did like Australia and New Zealand counters like commentating?
Just watch.
Probably
Can you watch things on stream, Jordan? I just found that on his Twitter.
On
Alternator.
alternators.
I'm opening it. Bolt reads Cat in the Hat.
Oh jeez, hang on. I don't know if I can.
Oh,
Ah,
Wait,
that's all right. We'll
I'll
watch
be
it-
able
watch
to.
it later.
I'll be able to set it up. Hang
this
on.
quality. I'm giving
just-
this video a
okay.
like.
So here's what you do. You guys got to talk while I set this up. All right? And,
Yeah.
Well, you know, if it isn't new established talent, then you know I'd have to give it to. Is it so talent of the year that isn't us?
I mean, I would just say Conky probably.
Yeah, I'd probably say Conky too, just because like voice, energy, everything. Like if it was most improved, I'd probably have to give it to Dion because like from where he was last year to where he is now, that's like a hell of a fucking improvement. But with Mitch is you know been around and I guess the better one that's been here. Like,
all right, I got this. I'm ready. All right, I'm ready. We'll,
You ready?
We'll get back to
Oh,
the
gonna
serious
watch
business
this?
after this. First, we've got to do Cat in the Hat by Voltinator. This, by the way, we're just voting for him as our new talent of the year. So this is congratulations, Voltinator. Hopefully, this is a good video.
this is like.
What the fuck? He's got Trump. This goes for 10 minutes.
Actually,
the
more
tenacity.
energy in that 10-minute video from that guy than I've ever seen in Pilsky in like the fucking 5 years I've known him. I'll be honest.
All right, so okay,
True.
Voltinator won the best newcomer.
You know
talent.
what? You know who? Look, I don't actually watch a lot of like the MDL and things like that, so I probably am not giving enough credit to
Oh, what
like
about
some of the people on the grind. But actually, someone I did listen to the other day because I was watching some CIS games was Dweg casting with
Yeah,
the Eternal J guy. I thought
Dweg's
Dweg
been
was
casting
pretty
for a
alright.
while.
Yeah,
but would you call him like
a new
yeah,
talent.
like
None of these
he's
people are
EU.
new talent that we're saying. And
He's
yeah,
not
I guess
new,
he is
and
in
he's not
EU.
AU, like he's AU in EU doing all the bigger stuff
Yeah.
that he can get his hands on. Someone that
Yeah.
did come to mind was Josh A's first cast this year.
Maybe. I
Not
don't
sure.
He could be a contender there as well. I just remembered. I know he's been around, but I don't think he was casting until around January this year. His first gig was that Nvidia comp, if you remember that, you know, about this time last year.
Oh, was that early this year or last year? Don't know.
What about the guy with 45,000 Twitter
45k
followers?
Who's got that?
Who's that?
He's talking about Trivial.
It's none of us.
But he
Trivial.
hasn't casted yet, I don't think. I think that thing he's doing next year is actually his first cast.
Oh, right.
Really?
Oh, unless did he do one of the Fortress ones for Valorant?
Mm,
No
I will
idea.
scroll down.
Can't remember. Anyway, we're moving on from
No.
talent because I think that's done and dusted. We got Voltanator as our newcomer, and I suppose we had Conky as our best talent that isn't us. Okay, so here's the one that's pretty fun. Worst co-caster. And I suppose it has to be one of us, right? Because we've really only cast with one another. Unless I'm voting for Ben Green.
I think worst co-caster here. I'd give that award to myself.
No, everyone... Okay, here's the thing. Everyone look in the direction of the person on the screen who you think is the worst co-commentator.
Wait, if I...
All right,
if
you
I
got to
could-
do it
no,
in
okay, that's
1,
fine.
2, 3, all right?
Look, I'm gonna because it can
One,
be both of you.
2, 3.
I even know which direction I'm looking at.
You're looking in the wrong direction, Kev. You're looking at the title.
My thing is fucking mirrored, for fuck's sake.
So who?
Did you
So
not see the
wait. So
screen?
hang on. Pilly's looking at me. Kev's looking at the title. Mac's looking at Kev, and I'm looking at Mac. So there you go.
No, okay, if I look left, right, it's like I'm looking at the right of the screen. That doesn't make sense.
I think based on that, we can all agree that Kev was probably the worst co-commentator of the year.
You guys aren't wrong.
I'm gonna go for Elfishguy because Elfishguy watching the cricket is not a great co-caster.
Wow.
Okay, I'll use the word
How
which
can you out
Jordan
me
has
like
used
that?
the most. Indeed. Okay, so
Indeed.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. All right. Well, okay. I guess it's me. Congratulations, me, for being the worst co-commentator of the year. Best newcomer player of the year.
this one's easy for me.
I got one as well.
Okay. Well, you guys go
Who you
first.
got, Kev?
I got two
It
that I can't
starts
decide.
with a V.
Beaver?
Yeah.
No, it's fucking shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Christ.
I'll be honest, Viva is like that guy where I'm like, you know what? I don't think CS should be your career. I think modeling is a much better idea for you. He's pretty decently good looking. You can get some ladies, you know. Don't
He's a
think his
good-looking
orping
fella.
abilities. Yeah, he's
Actually,
not
a lot
bad.
of those Chinese players are pretty good looking. They could be on like a.
Yeah, I'm into
Chinese
fucking
boy band or
Destroyer, man.
something.
If you, Destroyer's fucking cute.
into Destroyer. Oh, yeah.
Same size as my girlfriend, so.
We already know.
Jesus.
Oh, jeez. We already know Mac voted for fucking what's his name?
Can't even remember.
Can't
You're
even
a horrible person.
Vexite. That's
Either
it.
Vexite or
Vexite.
Rufflecoat.
I
kept thinking
Rufflecoat's nuts
Vertex.
For like, yeah, well,
Hey.
Rufflecoat's in
Oh,
Vertex.
so
I feel like-
Kevin's going Vexite as well. That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not like I'm just so biased towards Ose. I'm trying to like.
I'm not going to pick anyone from Ose. I'm going to pick either, and they're not necessarily new players, but just new in terms of coming to the top CS events that we get to watch. I'm going to pick either Score or Nine as my best player, best new talent, because I think Nine was very, very good in all of the tournaments that Tiger did well, and actually he was a player that got picked as a package deal, I believe, with NCL when they came into Tiger, rather than Annihilation, who was considered a better AWPer. And I think he's actually ended up being better than Annihilation. Is definitely a lot more consistent. And then Score is a phenomenal player. Might be one of the best players in Asia, to be honest. Like, he'd be up there in like my top 10 somewhere if we're not talking about achievements, if we're just talking about like raw skill and
I love
lighting
that
up the server.
caveat because he wasn't in
Yeah.
your top 10 for the.
Yeah, he wasn't even in my top 20 because
Yeah.
he didn't win anything. But if Tez was just fucking lighting up the server every time and having massive impact, he was fucking sick, and he's young as fuck.
Gumton's chosen mine actually in the chat. He said Jam Young. Now I think you guys forgot about Jam Young because you're like,
That was
does he
2019,
count?
He
wasn't it?
started in
He
2019.
only just
Started
started
last
in
year.
2019, but
He
that
was there
is
for all of EPL.
he
when
only just
Pili and
started
Bleh were in
right at the
Malaysia.
end of 2019. So I think he still counts as a newcomer. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be my top pick if it wasn't
he would
for the
he
fact
would be
that
my
it
top
was-
pick if I considered him to be as much of a newcomer, I guess.
Yeah, very true. And also, I thought it was funny that Gumpton did follow as that happened because he's another name that sort of comes to mind as like breaking into the upper echelon of like AUCS, or at least trying to, and doing a really good job in that first couple of series that we got to watch him play.
Back in was that in Skyfire? Was that this year or was that last year?
I think he
was
was
this
was
year.
he on Bazaar?
Yeah,
No, he's on
Bizarre into
Chiefs.
Skyfire. Yeah.
Gumpton, what bloody teams were you in? We can't remember.
Fucking who knows?
Give us your history real quick.
The TLDR.
Who was I
No,
thinking?
he was on Bizarre, yeah. He was on Bizarre, which eventually became Skyfire. That died. They had like Licky, Tomato, all that
Skyfire,
stuff.
yeah. The Skyfire
Uh,
one was the one I remember because that was the
that
team
was-
that got the OT against Order, I think.
Yeah, and I remember that was like one of the first series of the year that we cast, and it was fucking awesome.
Was it on
And
Train
then-
or something like that?
Yeah,
Or-
Train.
Yeah.
And then like that whole season was just fucking crazy games and OTs and shit. That whole season. That was the Chiefs Rooster season.
That
where
might
they
be
went
one
for
of
80
the
rounds on
yeah.
Barrage.
Look, there's a lot of awards later on that might actually be. Now that I think about it, I forgot about that whole season, but
Yeah,
we could probably put that in a few categories.
Yep.
so early on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barrage
yeah,
overtime.
All right, are we good with Newcomer of the Year? Who did we end up actually overall voting?
Next side, I think.
Vexite?
Well,
Okay.
Jam Young gets it.
Well, did you pick
If it
someone,
counts,
Jordan?
I
but
said
it's
Jam Young.
2019. If
Jam
we
Young?
did this last year, Jam Young would have won.
Yeah, I'll pick Jam Young, or I'll pick one of those Mongolian blokes.
All right, we choose Jam Young, whereas if Jam Young doesn't count, I think the consensus mostly was Vexite. But Pilsky's got a
Yeah.
hard on for Mongolian CS as opposed to Thai CS this year. So, anyways, personality of the year. Now, can I just fucking say, it's me. All right?
No.
I'm self-nominating myself as personality of the year. I've made 59 content pieces this year, Kev. I've casted every tier 1 ANZ CS, every tier 1 Asian CS. How is it not me? It's me.
I'd actually give it a Mac.
No, fuck you, it's me.
Back, yeah.
All
I
Mac
give it
did
a
was go on some fucking fan cams.
Mac went on fan cams, and Mac also went off the fucking rails on a bunch of VPL casts. Okay,
He did, he
that's
definitely
what
did.
Mac did.
Like that's personality to me. He really
pushed some
brought
limits.
it up.
Also, can I just say, if Mac wins it, I need to win the award for Mac Enabler of the Year because I feel like I did Mac enable very well this year.
That's
Yeah.
true. We definitely got to throw Roffelco and Dobby in there somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
Very true.
What other
I
personalities are there in
I
ANZ
can't vote
CS?
for myself, so I'll vote for Jordan too. So Jordan can get 2 votes.
Thanks, mate.
Wait. So how can you not vote for yourself, but Jordan can vote for himself?
I
I'm
didn't
just
vote. I
saying,
didn't
so
vote.
I'm a
I
humble
nominated.
guy.
I
I'm a
nominated.
very
I nominated
humble
myself.
person.
No. I nominated
Oh, oh.
myself.
I'll put it this way: out of 4, right? I have the personality of a brick wall. Pilsky doesn't have a personality, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of on broadcast. I've never seen him actually start cracking a joke.
No, he made a
so
great
it's
joke
gonna-
on EPL show one time.
Oh,
We
what
were
did I
casting
say? What was
Ents.
the
We
joke?
were casting Ents, and Mac said something like, "I can't wait to see who ends up in playoffs." And then it cut back to us on the cameras, and Pilsky goes, "Who ends up?" It just fucking looks at the camera.
What about the NASA
I think that
joke?
speaks volumes.
What about the NASA,
The NASA
joke?
joke was like 3 years ago. You can't win an award for that.
That was good.
Oh fuck! I make myself crack up sometimes. Oh, it's so funny.
Anyway,
Ah.
continue with your point, Kev.
Well, my point, yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
either going to be yourself or it's going to be Mac, his personality. Let's be real. So I always feel like Mac, it brings a little bit more like kind of like a different kind of style to the stream, you know, like he's the kind of one that gets the crazy energy going and we just go, you know what, let's just follow this and just go with it, right?
Sure.
And I feel like that's actually, I feel like you've been doing that a lot more as well, but like Mac actually throws himself like physically into the skit.
I mean, Mac would probably
I've
throw
never seen
himself.
Jordan strip into like a safety vest or a high vis, for example.
That's true. But Mac would probably throw himself at a camera if he had the opportunity. Anyways, Turtle has a good point in the chat. He says Mac Enabler of the Year is the EU production team for putting him on stream, which I think is also probably true.
Shout out to Tom Eric, my boy.
I think
absolute
Eric.
champion.
I think that definitely is like Mac Enabler of the Year because I feel like how much you enable him is how many eyes you put Mac in front of, you know?
True. All right, congratulations, Mac. You've won Personality of the Year. You don't get anything from
Thank
it,
you.
though. So
Thank you, my fans in chat. Thank you, Foggers. What's up? What's up?
Yep.
It's okay. We'll get if there's a host of the year. I don't know if you want to make that one up. You can.
Yes,
you can have
okay,
that,
host
Jordan.
of the year. Who's the host
Yep.
of the year, guys?
Okay, that's
I will nominate Elfishguy, this man above me, for that one.
Thank
if
you.
it's the-
Thank you.
I'm gonna go myself on StarCraft 2 as a
Well,
chance.
this is a Counter-Strike show, not a StarCraft show, unfortunately. You can't win.
I would nominate Pilsky if it was like there's an award for guy that looks most like a drug dealer in the North Shore. I'm not going to mention the clothing he was wearing because I don't want to get in trouble with the sponsor.
We don't have sponsors
but
on
I
this
think-
show, Kev. By the way, if you want to sponsor us, hit me up at Elfishguy on Twitter. Looking for
So
sponsor.
in that respect, I'm not going to trash talk any potential or any non-sponsors that are ever going to come into this show. But I just remember Pilsky definitely looked like a drug peddler. If anyone wants to see the photo, just ask Jordan. I think he still has it.
All right, we're totally going off tangent, and I don't know what photo you're talking about, so I'm going to move this along
What's the
to
next category?
a more serious category. The next category is best roster move of the year. Now, I think there's a few possible answers to this one. I'm going to go out and throw in Slowly and Danking to Tai Lu. I think that's probably, for me, the number one roster move.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just said plus Danking. Slowly's been shit recently. Like, he's actually been garbage.
I'll go. Can I go for Vici Gaming not making a roster move, despite getting their heads kicked
probably a
in
good
for
point.
like months?
Yeah. That's good, too.
My favorite roster move this year was Hugh swapping for Offnu, then swapping back for Offnu.
Wait, that's for the next category, Mac. That's the next
is it?
category.
Oh, sorry.
Just wait. That's the next category. All right. Well, that seems like a pretty boring one. It seems like we're in agreement on Slowly and Danking to Tai Lu. I can't think of any other really good ones. I mean, Avant made a bunch of roster moves, but none of them were very good. Same for Chiefs. Vici didn't make a change. Tiger. The Tiger roster moves? But obviously, we haven't really seen that. We've only seen like one tournament, so we can't really say that was the best.
Mm.
I think it has to be Tai Lu. So congratulations, Slowly Danking to Tai Lu. Best roster move. Okay, this is a good one. What's the worst roster move of the year? Because this one, I say there's a lot for the best, and for the worst, there's even more, in my opinion.
I just wrote plus minus 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 off new.
I'm definitely unequivocally going to go for Bottle to Invictus.
I think that's on my list as well. I've got both of those, by the way. So, Mac, do you have one more to throw in here? Because I've got a couple more.
Yeah, worst roster move was getting rid of my boy, as well as, Johnny Bloody Olsen deciding to leave the game, which also was a heartbreaker for me. So both of mine are in the Asian region.
Yep. Okay, how about this one? This is a bit of a curveball. You guys are going to hate this one, or maybe love it. Vexite to Chiefs, I think, is the worst roster move of the year. Because, hear me out, not so much the actual player joining the team, but the fact that it meant that they didn't play Counter-Strike for like 6 months because they were waiting for him to be 16 years old. And you look back at the year and you're like, what did Chiefs even play in this year? Half of that was because Vexite wasn't of age.
I actually think that beats in Bottle to Invictus because at least they still played in top 4 tournaments in Asia.
Yeah, but that's like saying that, they got invited. It's like, imagine if like tomorrow they invite us four to go play in like a tournament or something like that, like a top 4 tournament, and we like play like dog shit, like for 3 or 4 tournaments in a row. And it's like, congratulations, we're going to keep inviting you. I don't feel like I'm a top 4 team at that stage. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, I'll agree.
Foggers, they missed out. Yeah, but when you say they played in like all these tournaments, there was a bunch of tournaments that they played with like Yam or with like a sub or something, and it was just
like till September, they could play with Vexite, which I agree. It's not the. It's a bit of a loop, but I agree.
That's my special mention. The other one I wanted, and I saw Impression in the chat here. I hope he's still here. And my other one for worst roster move of the year was basically just BTRG's entire year. I think was pretty fucking bad. So that's the other one for me.
Yeah, I feel like we just didn't get to see enough. I didn't get to see him at all. I don't think I got to cast like any of their games unless I did for like maybe one qualifier match early on in the year.
We're still on worst roster move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Execute to Tyloo's bench.
Oh yeah.
Sad days.
But how can surely
like 4 players to Tyloo's bench? Like how many players are just sitting on the bench in Tyloo, just like twiddling their thumbs,
Freeman,
or just going to Valorant? Like some of the best players
Zeta.
in Asia, just like not even playing. Nice.
Yeah. That's actually true. Tyloo Prison is definitely an answer. Okay, what's the overall consensus then?
I really think Bottle to Invictus is an absolute stinker.
I actually think the Offnu Hugh swap was the worst one, just because of the sheer meme value of it. The fact that they swapped back straight away.
It's like, okay.
Was like really funny to me. I think that's the worst one.
Here's a problem that I have, right? Like the reason why I said plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, right? Is because it's like, how could we not see this one coming since 2016 or 2017? Like Offnu leaves the team, then Offnu comes back, 2 to 3 months later or 4 months later. It happens every single time. And it's like the roster doesn't even get like insanely better like over the next period of time. And I know this sounds really controversial to both orgs and whatnot. Maybe it's like they desperately wanted to change it up this time around. But you got to stop doing it. Like legit, it's I think it was like the first or the second time it would make sense, but this is like I don't know how many times, right? It's happened. And that's why I go like you're still trying the same thing to fix a problem which is always going to be there. That to me is always going to be the worst roster move over anything else. Like you're trying the same thing again and again and again. Definition of insanity to me.
Kev, I think you're trying to be too serious on this meme podcast.
That's a pretty meme. I don't know. That's a pretty meme thing, if you ask me.
What do you think? What do you think, Mac? Which one is your? Now that you've heard all of the nominations, what do you think? Because if you vote Ofnu and Hugh, then that's 3-1.
No pressure.
Or you can choose another one, and then Ofnu and Hugh still win, unless you vote for Oi.
I'm still feeling like the Vexite one just because they missed out on like so many competitions. Like Turtle said at least like 4, if not 5, including the ones that they played with Yam. Like you're practicing with one lineup, then you have to like do a second prac with your coach to hope that everything works. This just seems counterintuitive. So I feel like that was the worst of the year.
It does, like, it's a bit of a technicality kind of one because it was, like, not on paper a bad roster move. It's just the implications of it. So I'll give that one an honorable mention. I think Ofnu Hugh wins the worst roster swap, but minus Oi and plus Vexite were 2 honorable mentions for that category. The next category is a fun one here as well. Worst alias of the year. And I consider myself something of an expert in this one. So, just going to throw out a few names.
I already thought of mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to nominate Elfishguy for worst alias of the year. For sure.
That is emerging, or that's just, of everyone?
Well, since we've never done this before, I guess we can just do it in general. Like, if we come to next year, it's going to have to be of 2021. But since we have the entire history of CS, we can do anything. So my nominations, I have a few. I'll start off with Somebody. What do you think about that? I think that's a fucking shit name because of all the dumb memes that we keep coming up with. That is why I vote for that as a worst alias.
I think it's a good name. I think it's trying to fuck with you.
All right.
Give me some options.
Okay.
I'll just jump on someone else's bandwagon.
All right. What about this is Humongous? Humongous.
Humongous from Stat. It's pretty bad.
Alias name changed from Stat to Humongous.
That's pretty bad.
That's a good one.
I
rate Humongous.
You actually like Humongous?
I think the worst alias ever is either Westmelon or Mr. Mao.
Mr. Mao. Westmelon, isn't that because... Wait, is he the Chinese player?
Yeah, he played for Lin Vision
because it's got like some Chinese
It's like a pun from China. It's like a pun from Chinese, but the problem is, it's just like, imagine you're a guy just called Westmelon. It's just like, how fucking dumb is that?
Well, okay, what about Alistair? Because, okay, get this, right? That's the thing. It's worst alias of the year. Mate, you haven't even chosen an alias. You've just come in the server with your name on.
True.
Are there any other players that have that?
Kenny S.
But he's not in Asia or ANZ.
I know.
They put an S after his name.
Ricky, Ricky at least changes his name to EH. And James, I guess, is true.
James, yeah.
I am James is actually pretty funny. It's like, I'm James. Like, congratulations, man.
He's actually Joms.
So, do any of those, or do any of you guys have another one?
Oh, what? Oh, I might actually. Just give me a sec.
Oh, Tamira Reader is pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay, no.
It's just Tamir and then
Tamira Reader
with his name then backwards after.
No. You guys have...
once you get over like 10 characters, just get the fuck out.
How have we forgotten... Okay, this is 100% in the Twitch chat from Quick Draw. This is 100% the worst roster... alias of the year. Callum
that's
Murray.
what I was looking for.
Callum Murray is the worst alias of the year. 100%.
It's a great alias.
Who's he play for? I was trying to find the fucking POL because I think that's where I saw him play, and I was like, "Who is this motherfucker?"
Yeah, you can't.
Get him out of here.
I think it has to be Callum Murray.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, he gets the inaugural award just for that.
Worst alias of the year goes to Callum Murray. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus. We're going through these a lot quicker than I thought we would, actually. So if you do have good categories for us to talk about in the Twitch chat, feel free to, and we'll do it. Because, I want to make this go for longer than an hour, and currently we're more than halfway through. All right, what is the best event of the year? I think it was Road to Rio. From Asia and ANZ, I mean, I guess we can vote for like, I guess it's your best event, right? So whatever you worked on. Because like then I almost want to say like maybe Cologne or maybe Pro League Season 12, even though as fucked as they were doing overnight shows.
I feel like my favorite actually was the last one that we did, DreamHack Winter 2020. It had like the most upsets. It had like on the Asia side, it actually had a lot of different kind of storylines that kind of shifted and changed. We thought it was going to be a bit of the same old. In reality, it was very, very different in terms of everything. I mean, it doesn't really. It's hard, right? Because every single one of them were just online Counter-Strike. It was just how do you put in a best event? It's like nothing else stood out in terms of all the events that we did.
I would say Road to Rio as well, because it was the one that kind of stood out a little bit, and it was quite a bit further back in the year when we did so many online events in a row with very similar teams and very similar outcomes. Like obviously Renegades won almost everything, Talu won almost everything. The main thing that made it stand out for me was it was the event where Tyloo and Tiger were coming into it as like exciting new rosters, and Vici was still playing pretty well. And it was also the event where in the OS category of things, Order had those like 2-12-3 leads against Renegades and managed to lose the game.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, it's probably got to be EPL just because it was like so good to actually be able to do EU Counter-Strike for like EU and NA Counter-Strike for 3 weeks, and that was a different experience. Also, we got to have a lot of fun with that because everyone was going crazy at 4 a.m. So I think that's why I liked it, and we actually got to see a lot of upsets in the EU region as well. Like we got to see Spirit win a bunch of games. Every time we got given one of those games, we're like, oh, here we go. This game's like whatever. And then it ended up being the better game. And we also had the shorter days as well because it was like solid 2-0 upsets a lot of the time as well.
We only had to do one best of 3 a day. That was good. Yeah. And you made a lot of money from that, so you're happy. I was still full-time at ESL, so I was kind of not loving life so much. Okay, well then that ties in with one of the questions we have from Twitch chat from Chris. He says, best 6 a.m. breakfast meal. Because if we're going to vote for ESL Pro League Season 12 as our best event of the year, what's the best 6 a.m.? It's
a really hard choice between nothing and banana bread. It's a really hard choice.
What about the pancakes? Pancakes were
pretty pog. Yeah, the pancakes were actually the saving grace. I also have to give an honorable mention to the coffee that I ordered that tasted like shit. But you chuck enough caramel syrup in anything and it will be palatable.
Actually, I mean, I think we have to give some context here for everyone that's watching that doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about. Every day for Pro League, when we were casting from 3 a.m. until 7 or 8 a.m., there was no food open except for Macca's. So for 3 weeks straight, like I shit you not, we had 1 day off a week. So 3 weeks straight for 6 days a week, we were eating McDonald's once a day. And it was the breakfast menu as well. So you couldn't even get everything that was on the Macca's menu normally. So we basically went through the entire McDonald's fucking menu. I've literally never had I've never had the pancakes from McDonald's before. I've never had the hash browns from McDonald's before. What else did we get? We had like burgers at some points. I didn't mind having the burger because I got the burger and then I kept it and I just heated it up in the microwave after we were done at like 9 a.m. in the morning. That actually turned out okay.
There was only so many days in a row I could eat nuggets. So then I turned to burgers without the patties, or burgers without the bread rather, because it was supposed to come with a lettuce bun. And I tried every single one, never fucking came with a lettuce bun. So no matter how many times I tried that happened. It's on my favorite, Hungry Jack's, because we could get wraps. And that was fucking...
we did have Hungry Jack's like 2 days, didn't we?
We had 2 days because I think that's when Chris was on. And then when it was Phil just never even thought about going for it because he's like, I just thought Macca's had a bigger range. And I was like, oh.
You hear that, Phil? Fucking called out.
Oh.
And I ended up going to banana bread more often than not. And I kid you not, like, they burnt it every time. Like, it's like the person had been trained to burn it. Like, it became such a meme that I would just open the banana bread. It would be burnt every fucking time without
fail. When it
fail.
actually showed up, though, because there was like 4 days in a row where it just didn't come.
Yeah, they just forgot my order like every day for 4 days in a row. I think, to be honest, maybe the cunt at McDonald's just like didn't know how to make banana bread. And so the first couple of times he burnt it, and then after that he was like, "Fuck you! I'm not even sending it anymore."
How can you not know how to make banana bread? All right. Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on from that one. Kev doesn't have an answer because he didn't do that show. Lucky for some.
Yeah, I was still selling appliances at the time, which I don't have that job anymore. Thank fuck for that.
All right. Worst event of the year.
I am Beijing.
I am Beijing. Why I am Beijing? Because it was boring, and then nothing. No, but Vici won that, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was like, I don't know. I looked at all the events and I'm like, it was either going to be I Am Beijing or the one before that. Like I Am DreamHack, Autumn, like the opposite of fucking spring, random city in the world, Katowice. So like just put like a map. Marseille's, what else? New York, maybe. Just slap it on and just go, sorry, it's actually just an online event. You're playing for $5,000 kids.
Okay, how about the Asia Minor? Because it didn't happen. That was a pretty bad event. Especially if you were Alistair, who just qualified for his first minor and then didn't get to go.
Yeah.
The first ANZ champs, was that the one where like going to DreamHack was the prize, and then
the first
COVID
ANZ
happened?
champs.
Yeah, and then COVID happened, so like
that
no one was
true.
able to really have that prize. So that was a bit of a, I guess in that aspect, probably worst event. Because
I don't think it was the worst event though.
Yeah, although it wasn't the worst event. We always had fun.
If it was for me, if we were voting for that, the reason that would be the worst event for me was because like instead of working until 11 p.m. as you normally would for 2 best of 3s, we were there until like 2:30 in the morning some days, just being like, why am I still casting the first series of fucking Counter-Strike? So that's why that would have been the worst event. But I look back on that with fond memories, so I'm kind of like, yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't know. I don't have a specific one in mind, but just some of those events where the results were the exact same as the previous event, or like Renegades would just fucking stomp everyone in Oaths, and then Charlie would stomp everyone in Asia, and there was no interest in games, and like Invictus were like shitting the bed. So it was like basically literally a food chain. Like it was just one animal eats like a smaller animal, and then a bigger animal comes along and eats another one. It's like legit the most fucking obvious results over and over again. Like the really, really boring games. I don't mind watching underdog teams take on teams that are favored to beat them. But when they don't put up a fight and they basically just lose, or they look underprepared or something like that, or they look like they're not fully in it, that's where it kind of gets a little bit old for me when I watch the same teams play each other over and over again for, not even an exaggeration, like what was it, 10 months this year? Like 10 months in a row, we watched the same shit over and over again.
What about ESL Pro League Season 12 Asia qualifiers, which is not... I'm not talking about ESL Pro League Season 12, the stuff that we did overnight.
After the stuff that came
No,
after,
I'm
right?
talking about before. I'm talking about remember how before COVID, what was supposed to happen is ESL Pro League Season 12 for Asia and OS was supposed to be a double elim bracket that qualified you for the main event in Malta, and it would send one team. And that was the one that Tiger wasn't invited to after winning Road to Rio and Weibo Cup. And Tai Lu won the grand final 3-0. So that was a boring grand final. They also won the upper bracket final 2-0, both over Vici. I reckon that might be the worst one. Although we didn't do that. We didn't actually cover that. So I don't know. But for me, that's my vote. Actually, it gets my vote because we didn't cast it.
Does it have to be ones that we casted?
It doesn't have to be.
What about just like one of the MDL seasons? Because there's like almost nothing to play for without international lands. You know what I mean?
Look, all I'm saying is like that Red Bull Flick event that we casted was like more entertaining than some of the like middle of the year events where we watched the top 4 shit over and over again. Like that kind of says a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can just make the winner of the worst event of the year generic top 4 event that happened between March and August.
Yeah, I don't want to call out any TOs or anything.
That was like the very deep. That was the deepest trough of the year. I feel like when we were going through the middle of the year and we're just like, fuck.
And it had absolutely nothing to do with who was hosting the event or how much prize money there was there or anything. It was just because it was the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on a brighter note, then, What about tournament organizer of the year? Has to be ESL or DreamHack, I think.
DreamHack for me.
Asia or OCE. Otherwise, the other options would be like PGL for doing the perfect world stuff.
I think I have to go for ESL just because we've done the most stuff with them, obviously. But I would actually give an honorable mention to Perfect World because they gave some of our Aussie boys a couple of casting jobs, and also they had top 8 tournaments, and they had some interesting tournaments that I was watching. I was very envious. You know, we were doing the same top 4 events over and over, and then I was looking over at Perfect World. Fuck, look at that like Swiss system they're doing. Oh, look at the top 8 teams in a double elim bracket. Fuck yeah, that looks so cool.
I don't know how you were able to watch it. Like that was on simultaneously in like the 3 weeks.
I didn't watch much of it, but like just even looking at the results and looking at the format of the tournament and being like, fuck, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Foggers says he doesn't enjoy some of the talent on PGL, but it was decent. And I think, I mean, in this respect, we're talking about the tournament itself as opposed to the broadcast, just in general. Kev, you seem to have a hard on though for DreamHack. You were talking about that last time we were doing DreamHack Winter.
Yeah, I just enjoy kind of like the for DreamHack, it's like I don't know how to explain it, but like the videos just do something different for me, right? For IM, it's like the videos like seem a lot cleaner or whatnot, but DreamHack, it just has like that, I don't know, it just has that edge to it that reminds me of like Source days or like early Global Offensive days, right? It's but with like a bit of quality behind it. And I think to me that's always going to be something that's going to be charming and special to my heart, is a product which is not perfect, but honestly like close to, like, I shouldn't say not perfect, but it was like just good, right? It was just different. No one does like the graphics the same way that DreamHack does these days, like with the intro videos, like, oh, you know, this is like, you know, featuring these teams or whatnot. That's something special to me. I feel like, which is quite nice.
Okay. So DreamHack gets your vote. I mean, I'm voting ESL. Mostly because I'm just
like,
an ESL.
To be fair, like ESL/DreamHack is kind of like
it's kind of the same thing. Yeah,
so I just would go like between both. So I'm not saying ESL was bad. I'm just going like DreamHack was definitely very enjoyable for me.
Let's just say ESL DreamHack.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But I will give, like I said, I want to give PGL a lot of props. I liked a lot of the stuff that they did. They did a lot of fun and inventive stuff. And I'm keeping a very keen eye on Blast because they've actually said that they're going to expand into Asia and O's next year. And I've been watching a lot of their shit. Like, I really love their fucking broadcasts. I tune in to watch the games. You know, recently watched the final of Blast. You know, it's really cool to watch.
Yep, agree.
Interested to see where that goes as well, because they did do that one where when Dweg was working for Blast and they reached out and we got a couple of the boys and a couple of the girls as well. And Kira did some stuff. But I think it was just our talent casting EU games.
Pretty sure.
And that was ages ago now.
Like overnighters and stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't paid for if I remember correctly either.
Yeah, pretty sure it was free, which was the catch. But
that was like
good CS.
That's a pretty big fucking catch.
Like, yeah, that was like a huge catch, and I said like, yeah, no, this is not worth my time. Like, seriously, it's 2020, man. Like, I used to think it's like, oh, you know, exposure, doing it for free as a thank you for whatnot, but it's literally they're just trying to abuse it at this stage. Like, it's not the case of Blast being like a tier 3 operator or whatnot. They're literally just trying to abuse it.
All right, well, Kev's not voting for Blast then, I guess.
No, but it's
Kev's
for
not
me,
I
just go. It's like for me, at least I can take a bit of a standard. I can go like, you know, like that's not what I'm gonna cop. But like you look at everyone else who has to kind of develop and has to make a name for themselves. It's like seriously, they not only have to wake up over midnight or anything, but then they don't get paid by an organization which actually has money to pay them. Right? This is not a case of, as I was saying, like a tier 3 operator that can't pay for people. Right? If it was like some tier 3, tier 4 organization that was trying to get some Aussie boys on board, I would have done it, right? Like as a favor or as a friendly gesture. But a fucking tier 1 org doing it, not paying, and that just does my head in.
Wasn't
like that's just greed in my mind.
Start of the year, wasn't Flashpoint before COVID hit supposed to have an Oceanic like part of it? Or was it never going to do that?
I don't think so. I never heard about it if they were. I think the rumor was that Renegades was going to play in Flashpoint.
Right. Okay. That's probably what it was.
which would have been pretty cool. I actually think they could have done like they wouldn't have got fucking owned. Put it that way, you know.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to Pro League or whatever, it's like yeah, okay, you're coming last. But in Flashpoint, they'd probably just like, you know, do okay. Anyways, maybe next year. Okay, so look, I think we voted ESL DreamHack as TO of the year, and then had a bit of a tangent. So let's move on to Snakest move of the year, and this is kind of open to interpretation. It could be whatever you want.
Yeah,
Does anyone have one to throw in? I've got one as well, but Pilsy, you go first.
I'm going to go for Urcast Mongolian scene and then leaves Mongolian scene.
The Snake Urcast
again.
Snake Urcast is back.
Snakecast strikes again.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, mine's more of a behind the scenes one, but it was Ruffleco almost getting picked up by Chiefs however many times, but then they ended up picking up someone else instead of him and snaking him, and it got to the point where they were looking for a fifth, and then they really tried to pick him up, but it was, you know, too many times, and the straw had broken the camel's back by that point.
And he was like, fuck
so
you.
he was just like, fuck you, I'm playing for Vertex, and that's where he is now.
So Chiefs the Snakest move according to Mac. What about you, Kev? Before I throw
I would
mine in?
agree. Kind of like any roster move that affected the Chiefs throughout this entire year, because it was just a case of like every single time they were going, we want a solid foundation, and it was just never going to be the case there.
Okay, my nomination for Snakest move of the year is Excurate getting cucked by Tyloo when he tried to join NG.
Yep.
that is the Snakest move of the year. Because for those that don't know, what happened
Are we allowed to talk about that properly, or?
Watch out, Tyler's going to
I
find
don't know.
you, mate.
I mean, I think everyone knows.
Did they?
Basically, he was going to join NG, and then it kind of got leaked, and then Tyloo was like, fuck you. And then they're like, we're not releasing Excurate. And now it's still a discussion that's going on at the moment. So as far as I understand, he is still joining.
PTC's on,
No,
on fucking...
I asked Impression, and he's on the Valorant team. PCC's on the Valorant team. So Excurate to NG is potentially more than likely, I don't want to say more than likely, because who knows at this point, still going to be attempted. But I think that's the Snakest move of the year. Them having the deal and then turning around going no. And because he's sitting on the fucking bench. It's like, what does this poor guy have to do?
Yeah.
He's been on the bench for like a year.
No one's doing the off new one.
Was that a snake move though?
To me, that was like the Chiefs roster move, man.
Well, that was
wiggling
part
back
of the
and forth
Ruffleco
pretty hard, dude.
But
That was part of the
who's the
Ruffleco one.
snake?
Each time they swapped, they were going to pick up Ruffleco, and then they ended up picking up the other one instead, which was like either Hugh or Offnu.
Okay, so what do we think after all the nominations then?
Okay, I think a snake move in terms of if it's already been released, I think it's a case of even if he declined it every single time or whatnot, I feel like it is I don't know, like if players declined, we'll never know the full story, but I feel like on face value, if Ruffleco said yes, and then you know Voltrus is there saying like no, he said no every single time. If he did say yes, and obviously he got kind of like pit maneuvered, I feel like that's a bit of a snake move. But obviously, we're never privy to those full conversations, though. People obviously, there's always three sides to the story, as Sniper would say. So I'll take that with a grain of salt. But I still feel like any roster move that kind of affect the Chiefs was kind of a bit of like a snake move, because they always wanted to build a stable and reliable roster, and it just ended up to anything but that in 2020. Like you look at them, they've had at least 4 or 5 roster moves at the end of it, which is like, I don't know what to make of it.
I kind of like Pili's one, to be honest. I think that's funny.
Yeah,
I like that one for the meme value.
It is funny because it's like everyone, he literally revived like a whole scene, and everyone's like, Urcast is back. Like, we love Urcast, thank God. And he's just like, see you, boys.
See you, cunts. I'm off to get a fucking Woolies chicken or something from Thailand. What's the Thailand equivalent of a Woolies chicken? I don't know. I've never been to Thailand.
Probably just, I mean, they do chicken skewers. They do lots of fried chicken and shit like that with sticky rice.
Mhm.
There's a lot of equivalents. Any kind of street food, probably.
I think that's going to be my winner. I think I'm making the executive too much whiskey.
Which is that one?
Executive decision is Urcast is the biggest snake because it works because he's the snakest. Anyways, I'm hoping he'll see this. Most what the fuck moment of the year. What's the most what the fuck moment of the year?
Tiger winning.
Tiger winning Road to Rio.
Kind of just winning fucking matches, man. That was like to me the biggest
in
like
DreamHack Winter.
WTF. Like not only just like Road to Rio, but like even DreamHack Winter. Because like coming into that, I'm just like, wait, the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of what the fuck for me. I think the biggest what the fuck moment was what we were talking about earlier with the 7 overtimes between Rooster and Chiefs. I think Pilsey probably was on the same train of thought as me.
No, not even
And-
close.
All
Wasn't
right.
it the day after I had the 6 overtimes?
Yeah, you had
as
like
well
6 OTs and then we had
on
7.
Mirage.
Yeah,
And the amount of times we just had fucking Mirage overtimes this year.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll back that one. That's certainly weird.
What about you, Pilsky? What have you got?
Oh, I got so many. Yes, slowly, or was it Summer or somebody? I can't remember which one of those. Buying an MP7 in a grand final.
It was
when
somebody.
They're about to
It was
lose.
somebody. Yeah.
When they're about to it was like
Actually, that's a good one. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
14, misbuying an MP7 because he accidentally had F1 bound or F2 or whatever it is to insta buy. I don't know why you would even be hitting F1 or F2 in the game anyway. I don't know
Call
why
an
you'd be
attack
pressing
timeout.
those. Yeah, maybe. So he bought himself an MP7 when Vici Gaming was about to win a grand final, and then Tyler ended up force buying and winning, and then ended up winning that tournament. That was a pretty big WTF moment. Another one that I can remember is Talu almost losing to Beyond, who were in terrible form, and then going on to win the whole tournament. That was a great one. Here's another one. Vici Gaming being up 14-9 or whatever it was on Inferno, and then Tyloo takes attack timeout, and Mac says, "Hey guys, I believe they're going to do it this time. Vici Gaming, they're going to actually win a grand final," and then Attacker 4Ks them, try to come up bracket on Inferno, and then they go on to Mental Boom and lose another grand final for like the 4th or 5th time in a row. That was a fucking great one. There's just too many to name. I can
What
just keep
about
going.
who was it that like ran through the molly or something? What was that?
That's no, that's my different award. You can't take that.
Okay.
You
okay,
cannot
we'll
take that from a different award.
What's a different award?
The funniest moment of the year.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that's
Okay.
not a WTF. That's the funniest moment.
Yeah, it's kind of a WTF. Anyways, I actually think that it's the MP7 buy for me is the most WTF moment of the year.
I had another one, but I completely spaced and forgot what it was after hearing about the MP7 buy again.
What about Tiger not getting an invite to ESL Pro League?
Oh,
that was
that was
pretty WTF.
My other what the fuck moment is when Invictus all of a sudden was the worst Inferno team we've ever seen. So
Oh,
that
against
one
Global.
out.
Invictus versus Global Esports. That
Yep.
was
That's a pretty big WTF
that
as
was.
well.
I'm sitting there just going like, you guys yesterday were so fucking pog on this map. What the fuck happened? Where are you? What's going on?
Oh, you were casting that with me, weren't you? I think it was me and
Yeah.
you casting, and Pili was casting StarCraft that day. I think it was you,
Okay.
me, and Kev on the show, and Pili was out in the green room watching because he was on a break from StarCraft. We could just hear you going like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Apparently, you could hear me laughing.
Yeah,
It's
we could
probably
hear you.
disturbing everyone in the office because they were going up against Global and who were running a double AWP setup on the CT side of Inferno. We all know that you just throw a couple flashbangs and a couple of Molotovs, and usually you should be pretty all right against that. Like double AWP is definitely not unbeatable on Inferno, but Invictus decided to full buy grenades and not use any grenades for the entirety of that half, and continue to wide swing around corners and just die to AWPs for like 10 rounds in a row until they lost.
Certainly was something.
I still think it's the MP7 buy, mostly because it actually went on to win that map, and then they won the 2 maps following that and just reverse swept the series.
Yep.
I think that for me is the most WTF moment.
And because when we were talking about it, you were like, it could work. And I was like, no,
Yeah, you're like,
No
no
way.
way, no way.
no way. And then you're like,
No,
it
it
could
can't.
work.
No, I can't.
All right, that's the most WTF moment. Congratulations, somebody. Best call / prediction. I actually almost think that could be one of them as well. It's like, it could work. And then Pilisky going, no way. That's almost like the best call. I've got a couple, or I've got one. I think us saying Vici will be the best for the entire year was a pretty good prediction. I never lost faith. I'll say that much. I never lost faith. But my favorite, and it's not even the best, but my favorite call / prediction was Pilsky saying that Invictus Gaming will potentially be the best team in China after the roster change. I think that one's a pretty good one.
Oh man, that was pretty bad.
I think anyone tuning in knows how much of a hard on I have for hating like Invictus, so that makes me really fucking happy to hear.
Oh, it's pretty bad. I'll cop that one.
Do you have any other nominations?
I think, like I was saying before, on Inferno when they're up 14-9, and Max said, "I believe," and then they got 4K'd by Attacker coming up bracket, and then we all said they're going to lose the grand final now. By the way, this was like, I think Vici was up 1-0, and they just needed to win Inferno to win, or maybe they're up 2-0 or something, trying to reverse sweep. So they only needed to win Inferno. They're already up 14-9. And then Tyloo takes attack pause, Attacker 4Ks them, and we all look at each other and we're like, they just got mental boomed. They're going to choke now. And they did choke and got reverse swept and lost the series.
Well, that was it. Like that whole thing from the start, like each map, I think Jordan was like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?
Do you believe yet? Like they would win yet another map.
No,
and we were like,
no,
do you believe yet?
I'm still not believing it. Tyloo still wins this series.
Is that where that meme
literally
came
the one
from?
fucking round, I said, okay, all right, now I believe, let's go. And then it just all goes downhill from there. So it's like,
Is that where the how many rounds meme came from?
maybe. I thought that was just boring. Like, well, not boring, but at Cologne, I think was the first time I did it.
It might have been
It's just
Cologne. It would have been an
Lance.
overnight show. It would
Yeah,
have been an overnight show.
where I was just trying to be as annoying as
fuck.
possible.
Voltrus asked before. I forgot about that. That Cologne thing just reminded me.
Yeah.
He had best segment skit from talent. I hope Voltrus is still here. I think Kev might have made him rage quit by shit talking Chiefs. But anyways,
Whoa, I never shit talk Chiefs.
let's just do that one. Best segment from talent. Obviously it's us, but which one? I actually think no, Mac's not a segment, dude. I think the button segment might be it.
I was pretty pog.
Was it the button segment or
I think that one blew up more than any of the other ones.
Mac the tradie was pretty good.
Mac the tradie, I would give it that because I still remember to this day. It's just like Hive is, he's like, he could be wearing nothing underneath, has a drill in his hand, and he's got a hard hat on. It's like I can remember it as clear as day, and I have like 4 alcoholic drinks in me at the moment, and I'm Asian, so that's a memorable segment. Mac gets my vote. Give it up for Mac, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's a segment that no one saw, but was actually pretty good. Or at least I thought it was pretty good. I think Mac should have done it instead of me a little bit more, and it would have been funnier. But the Cypher Cam segment, when the coach ban happened.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And we never made a video of that, and I'm sure not many people actually watched that. But when all the coaches were getting banned for doing the bug where you'd float in the sky, Jordan, I can't remember who came up with this idea, but we all kind of we're in the green room. Yeah, I think Jordan convinced our producer to put a camera up on top of a step ladder so that we would be able to get sort of imitate a coach bug in the sky watching our death segment.
Hang on, I'll get the video up, I think.
Just as a dig at like people abusing the coach bug, and I don't think anyone saw it. So there you go. I thought that one was pretty good. I thought Bottle running through his own Molotov and me skyboxing that was pretty good. I think Skybox is a great tool to sort of deep dive into Asian Counter-Strike decision making.
Billy, before you go on a big tangent, I'll show this. The fucking what's it called? Yeah, no, because I have it on my vlog. It's the Cypher segment. So for those on stream. So I actually thought that one was pretty good. Well, that was pretty good. I thought that would pop off a lot more. And we even had like the little Cypher printout like underneath the multi-sync. And then I had a picture of Hugo on the iPad looking all fucked up. Like it was pretty funny.
I don't think many people got it. But yeah, it was right when people were getting banned for doing the coach bug. And that's how like doing stuff like that is how that I reckon not many people from I'm not going to say that. Anyway, I thought it was interesting.
You're just saying no one's watching.
No one's watching. No one who should be watching that segment is watching or doing anything about it.
Yeah, everyone's just there for the CS a lot of the time, which is very sad because we try to bring more to the table on the table or desk or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And hopefully going into the new year, we can make that amazing. But I guess we'll see.
All right. Well, I think we can all go for Mac the Tradie. I think that's pretty good. Some of your Skybox segments were pretty funny as well, though. I like those, but I think Mac the Tradie was the one that had the best. Well, to be honest, the button one was the best one in terms of reach, but the Mac the Tradie was like my favorite as well. I thought
the button one was good, but like I feel like no one that was watching live liked that. I feel like it was like 50-50. People going, "Why the fuck is this cunt blowing out my ears at like 4 in the morning?" And then it was 50% people laughing. So there you go.
Oh well, whatever.
I think I remember one person in chat going like, "You just woke my girlfriend up or something," because Mac just started screaming out of nowhere.
Serves him fucking right, honestly. Let's be real.
All right, biggest disappointment of the year, and there's a few here from my perspective as well, but I'll give you guys the floor beforehand. Who's to say any that you think of?
I'll go for COVID.
Sure.
You know, everything due to COVID, like no lands, no international travel, no etc. List goes on. So I'd be on that one. Give me some other thoughts as well.
Here's one for me. Top 4 tournaments. Like you say COVID, obviously all of these are going to be a result of COVID, but I'm more specifically the top 4 tournaments as opposed to top 8 tournaments got pretty disappointing. Invictus Gaming is a good answer, I think.
I'll go Thai CS. Can I get Thai CS for 10 points?
Thai CS for 10 points is probably not a bad one.
Thai CS has become Thai Valorant at the moment, so hopefully they go better than in Counter-Strike. Who knows?
Yeah, we didn't even get to see like Bren in like a good tournament this year.
Yeah.
Maybe other than that we casted.
They were in Perfect World,
yeah, Perfect World.
Singapore Indo CS, like boot mix not doing anything.
Yeah, Singapore CS is probably a good one. Shout out to Paper X, Nick Hathi, the boys. They're going to make a comeback in 2021, apparently.
The AU scene dying before the year was over and going through this whole restructure we're seeing at the tier 2 level.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's normal, isn't it?
I mean, building up from that as well, it's like, I feel like this is actually the worst time to be playing Counter-Strike at the moment. I think that's the biggest disappointment of the year is kind of like how Counter-Strike has had all this potential, in all honesty, to be that esport that kind of stood out a little bit, but it was kind of squandered, right? It was like it could have just showed Valorant on how shit of a game it was. Like Valorant to this day, I still feel like it's not fun. I feel like it's a case of I don't know what problems I have with it. I just play it and I just go, I don't feel like it's fun. But CSGO squandered all of that, like that potential in terms of just putting Valorant in the bin. Like, doesn't matter. Like, Riot will always like do enough to kind of get it up and running. You know, people will play it, but there's no incentive for Australian guys to play it. It's like, I know this is kind of building onto multiple points, but I feel like they're all disappointing, right? Outside of the gambling saga, where a lot of the Australian players were banned, as Vultures pointed out, it's like, to me, that is also like, how the fuck do you not think that's a good thing to be doing, right? It's like, how do you think that betting on your own matches is not a bad thing? Because it's like, well, I'm not throwing. There's a thing called integrity, right? But looking on the flip side, there's 17, 18. Gambling is an insidious culture inside Australia, firstly. I feel like everyone knows that. And then there's no future in CSGO in terms of salary, right? Like the hope is you become renegades, you get to move overseas, you become order, or like you become Avant, /Chiefs, maybe get salaries. I don't know what the salaries are at the moment. I know salaries used to exist. I don't know what they are at this stage. I'm not interested, right? The problem is like at the beginning, Riot had like, there were pathways. What did CSGO do with the minor? It's like, why didn't they shore up their system to actually combat Valorant? To me, that's the biggest like disappointment. Is that a competitor's actually finally come in to, which will eventually become good about 2 to 3 years' time, right? I feel like it will take 2 to 3 years' time for Riot to not fuck up this game. Then it'll be really, really good. Like this is like Valorant will be like amazing in 2 to 3 years' time. And then what's Valve going to be doing? They haven't done anything to shore up my faith in terms of like fixing a lot of the problems that are happening in the scene. They're not doing anything to justify investments inside everything. And to me, that's the biggest disappointment. Not only in Australia. Sure, Valorant's kind of, and Riot's kicked Australia in the balls after we did really well, especially Legacy doing well in League of Legends. And I know this is becoming a really long tangent. But Valve could have actually stood up and gone, we're going to do better. Because now we're forced to do better. As it is, they're taking the Telstra approach. Just fuck it. Whatever works, right? As long as it's the bare minimum, people are still coming to us. So that's the approach they're going with at the moment. And that, to me, is the biggest disappointment.
The biggest disappointment is Valve?
It's their approach. They're finally being pushed by a competitor, which is like... And they're not doing anything.
Anyone
it's like...
else?
Like, imagine you're a business and you're fucking pushed by a competitor. Like, how is Valorant not a direct competitor to Counter-Strike?
I mean,
At the very least, League of Legends, Dota had a competitor, right? You had the international. CSGO, what's that major? Oh, we'll just fucking kick that can down the road.
Yeah.
What do your pathways mean for shit now? Like that, yeah.
Would have been good to have a major or something like that actually happen this year. Like a bit more organization, but it is what it is.
I still think Invictus Gaming was my biggest disappointment. Because I was so much like, wow, these guys are going to be sick. I almost want to say Vici, to be honest. But like, they eventually came good.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Like more of a team-based thing rather than, the scene and...
No, anything. Biggest disappointment of the year is anything.
Have you had one back yet?
Just COVID, slowing everything down.
Yeah.
Although I guess for us, that was almost like a blessing in disguise because we got more CS.
Mac,
so
I think your biggest disappointment is no LAN because that's the thing you complained about the most this year.
Yeah, yep. I'm going to go with that one.
Or McDonald's for breakfast every day.
Can't play for 100k cops, mate. I don't want to play a LAN if it means I can just win 100k cops and dab on kids.
Mate, at least I was getting paid or getting breakfast for free.
Yeah,
which
at least we were.
I wasn't getting lands. I wasn't getting the lands.
Yeah. All right, I think we've all said our piece on that one. I don't think there's going to be a consensus. Funniest moment of the year, Kev. You had one for this.
Okay. This one was good, right? I don't know. Like, passing memory is back. I think Mitch knows, right? As soon as he said somebody running out of B apps, I don't remember who it was. It was somebody with a MAC-10 running through a Molotov and a flashbang, jumping at someone who had an AWP and just kills him. I'm just like, I lost my fucking shit watching that. And to me, that's the funniest moment. I wrote down here somebody yeeting through B apps with a MAC-10 through a molly and a flash.
Pretty good one. I'm going to go for Bottle running through his own Molotov into Palace. That was pretty good.
I remember
running through someone else's Molotov into Palace. That was pretty good.
Funniest moment. I think there was a lot of funny moments. That's the thing. Like, there's a couple that stick out into my head. Was the giant mosquito at like 3 a.m. in the morning while we were doing ESL Pro League Season 12. That was a big one. The triple Olos. Fucking, I don't even know what it is that gets me about that, but just the fact that Mac called Olafmeister Olo. Like, it's just, triple Olos? Like, what the fuck are you even saying, cunt? In what world is he called Olo?
Olos.
I think that was pretty funny, yeah.
I got away with names.
Oh, no. The best one is Pilsky wearing the menu log outfit on the StarCraft broadcast. That's the funniest moment of the year.
I haven't even seen that one.
Can I find
I was plugging that shit so hard. I was so full good. Sellout. I was full sellout.
Oh, no. What did Nick do when we had the ANZ finals for the first thing? He lifted up a dare and there was like a bit we did with that. Remember how Turtle crawled in and gave us the...
I got the picture of Pilsy on the... Can I make this full screen? Oh, doesn't matter. Anyway, fucking this one. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm wearing the same shirt right now, actually. My co-caster was shook because he couldn't believe that I went for the rain jacket and cap over the top. Like, he was just, I just said that.
Good man. That's the way we want it. Absolutely beautifully done.
That was a good one.
What about when Danny bloody dropped chicken in something, didn't he? When you know how he was doing the menu log skits and was trying to get stuff.
He did a menu log rap at one point.
Oh yeah, that was something.
That was a good skit. That we should have mentioned that in the skit segment.
Yeah, but it's again one we forgot about, and that was the second. That was the second ANZ when menu log was pushed that hard, right? That wasn't the first season of the
Yeah,
year.
no, that was the second one.
Yeah.
Trying to think of more. I know that there were some funny things. What about when Dobu or whoever it was fell off fucking Vertigo? You
Oh,
guys lost
Destroyer.
it.
Destroyer.
Destroyer.
That was more of a
Oh,
what the
no.
fuck moment.
That was a what
In
the fuck
fact,
moment.
if there was a triggered moment of the year, that would be my triggered moment of the year, where T-side pistol on Vertigo. Destroyer's the only one with any utility. He falls off the map. They now have no grenades. 2 of the people with Glock armor run into the A bomb site and die, and then the other 2 people with Glock armor run into the B bomb site 5 seconds later and die. And I was like, what was the plan meant to be here, boys?
We got
Like,
a couple
I
from
just
chat as well.
don't get it.
Four Dumbs talking about the guy that got swooped by his magpie in his garage. That was Valorant. But that was pretty
Valorant,
funny.
Yeah, that was pretty pog.
Roffleco says, hello, am I late for the awards? Well, we're getting toward the end. But it did remind me, Roffleco's interview was pretty funny. I think that was what.
Yeah, Roffleco
probably not
was-
funniest moment of the year, but it was up there. It was in the nomination category, I guess.
Oh,
Coach-
can we do a
Coach Dobby.
best interview of the year? Because we actually ended up getting a couple of good ones towards the end.
Okay, yeah, we can move on to that. What is best interview of the year then?
What about worst interview of the year too?
Okay, which one are we doing first?
We could do that.
Let's do best interview first.
Yeah, best first, and then we'll go worst afterwards.
Yep.
Wait, we're going best or worst first? Sorry?
Best interview.
Roffleco.
Roffleco's were good.
I'm gonna go for Kaze finally winning and cracking a smile.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He
Emotion
just cracked
from
a
Kaze.
smile, but that's all. That's all you don't usually see that.
I think my favorite interviews, I can't put them in an order, but Roffleco's one was good. Blame F's one, when I got to ask what his mum cooked him for dinner, was pretty good.
Yeah.
Then we also had Steel, and I asked him to take us through that knife, and he got excited, super excited, like a little kid, just replaying the knife that he went, or he almost got the knife and someone stole the kill, and he was really good.
Oh,
What else? We had a couple of good interviews.
I remember when we interviewed Steele, and I was asking him, not directly, but kind of asking him, are you going to go to Valorant after this tournament? And he was like, oh, nah, not really thinking about. He kind of dodged the question, but it didn't really seem like it was going to. And then right after that tournament, he fucked off to Valorant.
Yeah.
Right after it.
I think
funny.
the Jacob one was a pretty good one, where we asked him about Aussie slang or got him to sing the national anthem or something. Oh, that one was good.
That was pretty good. Oh, good question. We had a couple of banger interviews going towards the end of the year. The ones towards the start, I feel like we didn't do enough. And whenever we did do interviews, even at LANs, it was usually we had a stage host or someone who was designated the interviewer to do that a lot of the time.
Yeah. All right, let's do the worst interview then, because I think that might be a bit more funny. What's the worst interview?
Oh, there was 2. I remember the one with Vanity. Who was the one that gave us the straight one-word answers?
That was one of the NRG guys, I think.
Oh, that was Ethan.
Was it Ethan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan Copp's the bloody worst interview of the year for me. That was horrible. That was
Yeah.
fucking horrible.
That was a rough
I
one.
forgot about those.
Because you're like, yeah, cool. And you haven't even thought of another question by the time they've answered the first question. Those were hard.
Yeah,
Oh.
and then on the other end of the spectrum, you got Breezy on the exact same team who gave us a bloody great interview.
Eric gave us a good interview as well.
Yeah.
Who was the bloke from AGO we kept interviewing? He was pretty shocking.
AGO.
Wasn't that just because he had a bit of rough English? And I think that was
No.
Spirit you're thinking of, not AGO.
No, I'm thinking of AGO.
AGO?
Yeah, and he didn't have rough English. His English was pretty good. But
can't
Find a picture and remember straight away.
he was just giving me the vibe that he just didn't want to be there.
Oh,
and
what
didn't
about
want
the
to
Alu
focus.
interview? We did an Alu interview. They were always pretty rough.
Yeah, but that's normal.
Yeah, you'll expect it, but it doesn't stop it from being a shit interview. I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, do you want to do an interview with Ents? And we were like, well, yeah, as long as it's not Alu. And they're like, Alu's the only one that can do it. And we're like, well, we'd rather not do it. And they're like,
And then we had to do
Then we
it.
did the
there were so
interview.
many times- There were so many times where we don't want to do an interview, especially when it was Renegades winning again or some shit like that. We're don't want to do it, and then we just did it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna nominate myself for worst interview when we interviewed. Who did we interview? I think it was either Lakia or QQ when we'd already interviewed him, whichever one it was, a couple of times, and he was answering all the questions, and his English was a little bit rough, but he was understanding everything. And I'm going to nominate myself for, in the second or third time interviewing him, asking a really complicated question, him just going, "What the fuck did you just say?" Because I got too confident that he knew what was going on, and was like a fucking dick, just went too ham, and then in front of a whole stream made him seem like he was he didn't know what was going on, which is completely my fault. I still feel bad about that. I still think about that.
I don't even remember that, so I don't think it was that bad.
Sometimes being the third person on the desk when you didn't have a question prepared, or when I did have a question prepared, and then
someone takes it.
Or like one of you two would just take the question. I'm like, well, fucking all right, Mac, what do you got? You got 30 seconds. Go think of something.
I feel a bit bad for you because you're always the one to ask the last question, just because that's where you're standing on the desk.
That's why I like to go for the when we were doing the things like, oh, I've got a quiz for you. We got some slang. Tell us exactly what you think, because I'm like, you guys.
The Alistair Hare interview was a good one.
I wasn't there for that film.
Yeah, but the fucking funniest thing was he voted Kevin's hair was better than Pili's. And Kev literally came in and didn't do his hair that day. It was like this. It was like over his face. And Alistair was like, yeah, that's better than Pili's. I was like, you're fucking wrecked.
I can't. I think the Dexter one where we crowdsourced the questions was pretty bad because we just didn't want to do a Renegades interview for like the fucking 10th time in a row. And we were like, we literally asked Dexter everything there is to ask.
Yeah.
And we interviewed him again and just asked him like nothing of importance pretty much.
And then he said something on Twitter about it afterwards, which was like, okay, well, we won't do that again.
I would like to be asked real Counter-Strike questions. Yes, we come in and actually play the final tournament without even playing Counter-Strike.
I think what was the other one? When we asked Ali who from the desk he'd pick up for the team, and we actually put a bet on it. And was it had like the $5 note, so we turned it into a skit as well, which was good. And it was you. I was like, it's you. It's not going to be me.
Nah, I was like, he's never going to pick me. He's never going to pick me. He's going to pick like Mac or Jordan or someone, but he did pick me. So
why would he not pick you? You're the only one that's actually played CS to a like reasonable level.
Yeah. I don't know. The funny thing about that is that
that's imposter syndrome to the max.
I guess so. But before Ali was in any like proper pro team, I wanted to like pick him up into a team I was playing from because I saw him playing in a park. I'm like, this guy's fucking sick, and I wanted to pick him up. And I think he played a scrim with us or something. And then after that, one of my teammates was like, I'm never going to play with this cunt again. This guy's never going to make it. Like, he's not good enough, or like some shit like that. And look, I'm not going to name names, but Alistair has definitely gone on to do much better stuff than that guy.
Who was it? What letter did their name start with?
It's the Christmas special. We fucking name names in the Christmas special.
What letter did the name start with?
Okay.
It started with an H.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't know who that is then.
You got it. It was Harry Potter. Well done, Kevin.
Beautiful.
I don't really know who's on your teams. That's the problem.
Bet you didn't know that I played with Harry Potter. There you go, Jordan.
I did not know that. All right, let's go for the final two segments. These are not like awards anymore. We've pretty much finished the episode. I want to just say, what did we miss most from 2019? And my answer here is MVP PK, but more to the point, just Asian CS in general.
CS. Traveling for events for sure. I really like going to like Asia, like going to China, or I think we went to did we go to Indo, Malaysia, and China all in the same year or not?
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
That was last year.
That was last year, bro. I didn't go anywhere this year. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. I was meant to go to Japan at like end of October, so. I was also meant to go to China at the beginning of the year. So it's kind of like the case of I'm really missing events at the moment, like kind of just going out and actually doing an event in a live crowd kind of thing.
Yeah,
just not the same doing it online.
Yeah, I had a couple of events lined up as well. Philippines I was going to go to again. That would have been cool.
Oh yeah, good on Nobu.
Yeah, probably.
I would have been like the difference between like back then and now is that I would have been an absolute fiend. You would like just literally go to like you'd see me on the gambling floor probably. That's the difference.
I think The only event that I missed out on this year, and the only one that I would have hoped to work, but I bought tickets to it anyway, was IEM Melbourne, and that would have been very fun, regardless of working it or not. And would have been down there having beers, yelling at Counter-Strike if I wasn't working, and catching up with everyone, which is the thing that I certainly missed out the most on this year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not doing IEM is probably the biggest thing that we miss this year.
IEM Melbourne.
Yeah. Feels bad, man. All right, what are we looking forward to in 2020 to close the episode on a brighter note?
2021, you mean?
2021, yep, that's what I mean.
That's the one.
What are we looking
Lands.
forward to? Lands? Looking forward to seeing Renegades play internationally.
Oh yeah, hopefully they can get across is it EPL? No, Cato, right? Cato in the studio.
Cato's the one that they're trying to do.
I think
Hopefully they get to that.
I think also, like, I'm really hoping that some of these tier 2 teams actually stick together and really fight it out and kind of improve. I think I'm looking forward to Extremesland to kind of see what the state of tier 2 Counter-Strike is. I feel like we've kind of lived in a bit of a bubble recently. Maybe not Mac as much, but definitely myself. I've lived in a bubble where I only see the top 4 teams. It's very hard to kind of see how the other, like, tier 2, tier 3 teams play, which I'm hoping, ANZ champs, that's going to be one thing. As well as this Extremesland is kind of a bit of a glimpse on what is really going on at that scene.
Oh, there you go. The return of Rooster at the end of the year.
That's going to be like December 2021.
Yeah,
if that happens.
Yeah, if they
do
stick
come back
to
together.
it and do come back. That's
nothing's stopping them from gambling now, right?
Shut up! Oh no.
It's just not them from playing.
What's I don't know, just more CS. Hopefully more work. Hopefully maybe some different TOs running some Valorant at some point, maybe, so we can maybe cast some of that. As well as if it's in Melbourne, at least we can go down there now. That's another conversation with rates, etc. Guess we'll see. Looking forward to the Guam server, so I can say, hey, Jordan, how'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll find out because I'm casting that tournament. So, I mean, I'll be in the thick of it. If it's fucked, I'll be in the thick of it. But if it works, then that'll be great, hopefully. So, looking forward to seeing how that goes. That's the first thing I've got booked for the year. So, I guess I'm looking forward to that. All right, I think we've gone through everything. So, let's get to the final thoughts then and end the show. So, Pilsky, you can start with your final thoughts. You're probably half a cider deep by now, so a bit sloshed.
Half a cider. Nah, a little bit more, but it's all right. Final thoughts. I don't know. This year was fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
It was really fucking weird. And I really hope next year is not like this year, because this year was fucking shit.
Cool. Kev? Definitely more inebriated than Pilsky.
Yeah, I actually finished this entire bottle. Like, that's completely gone. Constance is not going to be happy.
Not feeling too good.
I'm drinking water at the moment. Old man needs to take care of himself at the moment. The first trick is hydration. I think kind of like the sum up 2020, obviously, it's a year that's been very challenging, not only in terms of like mental, but physical health as well. So I think moving into 2021, I've kind of found what I wanted to do. I think it's kind of like that's always a really good thing. I hope everyone that's watching the show as well has taken the time to kind of reflect of what they want to do in 2021, because 2020 kind of showed that you can't ever predict what's going to happen, right? So I think you just kind of take life by the horns and run with it, which is kind of what I'm trying to do at the moment.
All right. What about you, Mac?
Yeah, I just need to actually create more content, or I don't know. I've been fucking trying to hit 2,000 followers all year. Doesn't look like we're going to hit it. So
I've been trying to hit 4,000. So I'm not going to hit it either. It's all right.
So close. I think I'm like 30 off as well. I just needed to like do 1 or 2 more. I thought the Pico videos might have been enough for people to be like, oh yeah, dogs. But apparently that's not the answer to followers. I'm all CS. So even when I do Valorant stuff, every time I post like anything to do with Valorant, I lose followers because all my followers are CS people. Half of them apparently diehard fans. So I don't know, build more of a following, hopefully make content, hopefully go overseas if that's even a possibility. Worst case, hopefully I'll have enough money to go back to New Zealand, try to find the thieves that robbed me last year, get some redemption, and
I
hopefully have a holiday.
Mac at Extremesland 2020 finals in December next year would be fucking poggers. If that happens, Kang, if you're watching, which you probably don't. Anyways,
We'll send it on to him.
We'll send it on to him. Look,
Mac in China's scary.
Mac in China, the fucking Guaylo coming to destroy. And with that, I think I'll say my piece as well. It's been an interesting year. I'm probably on the same position as you, Pilsky, where I don't know, like it. I mean, at least for me, it hasn't been bad, but it has definitely been interesting. I hope that next year we'll get to do some lands. I hope that next year I'll get to go overseas again. I was thinking in the car yesterday when I was driving over to your place, Mac, to have lunch with your housemate, but not you. Don't know if you knew about that. Anyways,
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking in the car, I was like, I've actually been overseas every year since 2015, but 2020 was the first year that I didn't. I've been in Australia this whole year, so that was a bit of a shit, that sucks moment for me. So hopefully that's something that'll turn around next year as well. Get to do more events, get to work with all the TOs, new TOs and old, obviously, and hope that everyone enjoyed the content that I've made this year. And thanks guys for coming on. Not just you two, but obviously shout outs to Blair, Nick, everyone, all the other guests that came on.
Is that your 60th content piece now?
This is actually the 59th.
Oh. So
You
that
get
was the
one more out?
inflated number. That was a disingenuous number.
Am I going to get another one out? No, this will be the last. This is the last original content. There'll be some replays and stuff coming up just to keep the YouTube algorithm happy, but this is the last one. Anyway, that's the end of the show.
No. You do one more.
I'm
It's just a
driving to
message
Brisbane
your
on
fans
Friday. I don't
on your phone.
literally have to make it tomorrow.
On your phone.
Maybe.
Don't care. Make one as a big thanks.
Geographically
try to rattle on
challenged
for 10 minutes.
Christmas Eve edition. New Year's Eve. What about Geographically Challenged New Year's Eve edition?
Exactly.
We'll do it live from Sandman's house. Ben, I've just invited the boys to your Christmas Eve party. New Year's Eve party. So that'll be good. All right. See you boys there. See you guys who are watching, fucking next year, I guess, because that's when we'll be back, hopefully. Otherwise, this might be the last Geographically Challenged. Hope not. See you next time.
Waste some time.